Okay, welcome to the Kung Fu Physicist Podcast. I am the Kung Fu Physicist, where I help to explain the science of fighting as well as how you can improve your own life training Wing Chun Kung Fu. I also talk about physics and other science. With me is my co-host Rachel today.
Hello.
Joining me again.
I'm back.
All right, so what do we got going on today? Today I'm trying to do a quick episode, guys. Only 20 minutes, so we're going to roll through this.
Yes, nice and quick. Today's topics include internal versus external martial arts, the 4 components of a person, and finally, how to change your mass to generate more force.
All right.
Very good. Let's start with the first.
You start asking me because...
First topic.
So I like Rachel asking me these questions because she actually has no background in martial arts at all.
I don't.
So she can help our listeners as well.
Cool.
So go ahead, ask me.
Yeah. Okay, so internal versus external martial arts. Which would you say is Wing Chun?
Okay, so first of all, internal versus external. This is a term some of you may have heard before and some of you not. So there's essentially 2 kinds of martial arts out there. An internal martial art is an art that's kind of like Tai Chi. So it focuses on like well-being. It focuses on your stretching. And you're really focused on paying attention to nothing but yourself. Your attention is turned very inward.
Okay.
So these can be like performance arts and stuff like that where essentially you are trying to manipulate your own body in certain ways.
Right.
Improve your balance, improve your breathing. A lot of this, there's an art going around called Qigong.
Yeah.
And that's getting really popular now. But
I've heard of that, yeah.
Qigong is initially an internal martial art. And Qigong means, Gong is kind of like Kong, like Kung Fu.
Mm-hmm.
So Gong actually means work.
Oh.
And Qi and Qigong actually means air. So air work.
Oh, cool.
Right? So actually you're working your breath.
Oh.
Yes. So Qigong means air work.
Nice.
Right? So a lot of the Qigong training has to do with meditation, with breathing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that is an internal martial art. So you're learning to balance your own body, like balance your own mind and stuff like that.
Cool.
An external martial art is an art that is mainly the thing that you can see. So a lot of external martial arts like have a lot of blocks, a lot of big movements, like wide movements. They have emphasis on physicality.
Yeah.
And just straight up abilities. Like a really good example of an external martial art is like Taekwondo.
Okay.
Or like... I would say like probably boxing, karate, depending on the type. There's a lot of different types of karate. So probably BJJ as well, like jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. Those are all external type martial arts. A lot of the northern kung fu styles are external. So a big emphasis on the physicality, on the movement of the body.
Yeah.
Right. Typically, external martial arts focus on blocking things and overpowering people.
Okay.
And internal martial arts focus on being soft and absorbing and negating strength.
And like steady in the mind.
Yes, steadying your mind and stuff. So Wing Chun is actually a combination...
Wait.
Huh?
Oh,
What?
I was going to guess.
You're going to guess. Okay. So I didn't finish it.
I thought it would be a combo.
Yes.
But I thought it kind of leans a little bit more towards internal.
Yeah. So because from your outside perspective, so you've seen some of the classes here and stuff. So what do you think it is?
I thought it would be a combo because if I were an outsider looking in, I might think it was more internal, unless I watched like the Mom movie or something like that. Mm-hmm. Then I'd be like external.
Yes.
But I think because I know you and like I think I've heard you speaking with your students before, I feel like there's a lot of internal that goes on, mainly especially with the movement using the force against someone else, using their own force. So
yeah, yeah. So that's good observation. Yeah, Wing Chun is actually a combination of internal and external arts. Remember that the original system, the creator of this art, wanted to specifically attack the traditional styles at the time. So it was designed against the other arts.
Yeah.
Right? So especially the Southern Shaolin Temple. So a lot of the big movements and the other styles of Kung Fu that were mainly external at the time, this art was designed specifically targeting them.
Cool.
So, so what does it mean, internal versus external? I kind of covered that a little bit. And so why Wing Chun is both. We deal with, obviously, getting attacked, getting punched at, people trying to grapple us, people trying to take us down, people swinging at us, like, somebody pulls a knife, somebody's, like, aggressive towards you. So there's that component, which is very physical.
Yeah.
So the main part of our art is our main weapon is our fist.
Right.
We're really good at punching. We're very closely related to boxing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you just took boxing and you just removed all the rules, then this would be the system.
Nice.
Yeah. So you think about it, we're always trying to stand up.
Yeah.
We try to stay standing up. Our main attack is striking. We have very few movements like boxing. Boxing doesn't actually have many movements.
Right.
Right. There's a cross, there's a jab, there's an uppercut, there's a hook.
Okay.
Right. There's a straight. And we pretty much have all these same things.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
The difference is that in boxing, there's certain things that are not allowed. Okay. And in our system, there's nothing that's not allowed.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so that's the reason why we do things a little bit differently than a boxer.
Nice.
But we're very related. It's all about striking and knocking someone out.
Yeah.
Keeping your stand up, except we also use our legs. We can knee, we can kick, we can do all kinds of stuff like that. Whereas in boxing, that stuff is illegal. So you can't kick somebody. You can't You can't stomp somebody's shin as they're moving in on you and try to snap their leg backwards.
Dang.
But with us, it's fine, right? Because we're in a real situation to get out. So that's the external part. The internal part is learning how to retrain your reflexes.
Okay. And
you're really focusing on controlling your body and all parts of your body in that instance. And it really has you turn inward for those pieces. Yeah. So part of it is just external training, and part of it is internal, like that focus that you need to actually do the moves. Yeah. So that's another thing is that we don't have any blocks in our system. Other Wing Chun styles may have blocks. Okay. So a block is like anything where somebody punches at you and you try to stop it.
Stopping it. Yeah. You're just stopping, hitting their force against your own block. Okay. Mm-hmm. But this is more like you move their force away from you.
You could move it. You can also, but for us, that's a waste of time. Yeah. We don't want to focus on moving their force away. We want to focus on taking it and dishing it back out to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if somebody is stronger than you, our goal is to have you borrow their force, to take it away. Cool. So the stronger the other person is, the harder you can hit them.
See, I like that. I think that's so cool.
That's the idea. The same thing is if you have a guy who's really just very strong, and he if there's a piece of wood sitting on top of a ledge and he hits it, that piece of wood will spin around and smack him on the back of the head. Right. With the same amount of force that he put into it. Yes. Right? Yeah. So that's the idea. The stronger someone is, the more their strength is negated than taken. Right? Yeah. So that enables someone who's a woman, who's much smaller than a guy, to dish out just as much force as him and more. because she's borrowing his force.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's the big internal aspect of it.
It's one of the draws for me.
Yes.
I want to start learning it now.
Yeah. Oh, I'll persuade Rachel to start training with us. So
yes.
We'll see.
All right. Should we move on?
Yep. Next
Already?
topic.
Sad.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you can ask more questions. I mean, it's free form. It's kind of open, so just keep it short. So what's your question about that?
I just wanted to ask you a little bit more about internal because I know that when you're doing Wing Chun, it's a lot about real life situations, and in class you're learning to calm your mind and understand, be calm in a situation where something bad could happen, right? So you're like regulating your own body inside, but then outside you guys are training the reflexes so that you have the tools.
Yeah. So actually, so let me also define internal and external a little differently. So external is anything you can measure and touch.
Okay.
Okay. Internal is everything that is immeasurable. You cannot measure it.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't measure your emotions. You can't measure your thought process.
Right.
You can't measure it.
Yeah.
Right. You can try to put measures to it, but you can't actually measure the thing. Okay. So you can't measure your the way that you coordinate yourself.
Right.
You can measure if somebody is coordinated or not, but you cannot measure the process that's going on inside your body while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's essentially external is everything measurable, internal is immeasurable.
Okay.
So all arts actually have an internal component and an external component.
Yeah.
But some arts mainly focus on the external.
Yeah.
And some arts mainly focus on the internal.
So would you say Wing Chun is kind of like a 50-50?
Yeah, I would say it's, well...
How would you rate it?
So there's that old symbol, the yin and yang.
Yeah. Right?
So the yin and yang is the internal and external. So each thing is composed of has a piece of the other thing within it.
Right.
Right. So Wing Chun is like the yin and yang completely. So it has both the internal and the external combined into a single system of learning.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes. So then you might say, well, what's the problem with that? Well, there's some issues when it comes to like sports and sporting things, because sports mainly have the yang, which is the external.
Yeah.
So they're very physically intense, right?
Yes.
So they focus on that physicality. And while there is some internal component to it, obviously the more intense you get as an athlete, the more you train, the more you're going to have to be specific in your movements and learn these type of controls and turn yourself inward, right?
Yeah.
So it does have that internal component, as it always will. So those, you get people that are really physically fit and really physically in shape and are capable of doing many things, right? Yeah. Physically capable. So with Wing Chun, we don't focus so much on that physicality because it's balanced 50-50, right?
Right, yeah.
We do have some focus on it, but it's only 50%, right? We're not going to get people who are training like athletes.
Yes.
Right? Although we could. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
But then there's the internal part, which is also kind of like a chess game. So you're actually learning to even somebody who's physically fit, who's really fast and like, they have good stamina. You're learning to essentially knock their whole plan, like take everything away from them.
Yeah.
And that's the internal part, which is so powerful.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to balance and focus on both of those. There's another art called Tai Chi that we also practice here.
Yeah.
And Tai Chi is super focused internally.
Mm-hmm.
So Tai Chi is super good at this internal stuff. And I'm sorry to knock on Tai Chi guys, but as far as the self-defense part, it's almost not there.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like a moving meditation.
Yes,
honestly.
it is kind of like a moving meditation. A lot of modern Qigong and stuff like that is really based in Tai Chi.
Nice.
It's just a Tai Chi program. So now they're marketing it as Qigong. Yeah. It's just Tai Chi. So Sifu Garamon actually, people ask us if we do Qigong here. Wing Chun actually also has a Qigong program.
Oh.
Yes. And
good
so,
to know.
But again, it's not as developed as like a Tai Chi program would be.
Right.
Because Wing Chun is all about being practical, like what works.
Right.
What is happening like right now.
Which is what you want when you're going to get
even in our
real
system,
world situation.
Exactly. Even in our system, we have a type of meditation. It's called awareness meditation. And but we are practicing it while we are being punched at.
Oh, wow.
So we have a meditation type that is there while everything is happening.
Nice.
So a lot of other meditation types, you need quiet, you need like your soft music, you need like the bell. Our meditation happens like in the midst of chaos. Yeah. It's like there's madness everywhere. People are swinging. They're trying to punch you in the face. In fact, sometimes you get smacked in the face, and we're asking you to do this type of meditation.
Yeah.
To like refocus yourself in that situation.
That's really badass. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a lot of mental game there.
Yeah. Hopefully I answered your question. I forgot what you asked.
Yeah, thank you for elaborating on that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the 4 components of a person. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I've come to this realization, and I think other internal masters and stuff have talked about it too. Mm-hmm. In my studying of Wing Chun and in my studying of physics and biology, I'm also a health physicist, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
I study the effects of radiation on the human body, and
can I note that that's like a rare, what do you call it? A rare
field.
Career, rare
yes,
field.
It is a rare career and a rare field, and we always need more health physicists. So if you guys want to pursue health physics, hit me up. All right, so essentially. There's an old way of thinking, which is determinism, which is that we're just our bodies, and that's it. Okay.
Right.
So what I've come to believe and feel and essentially put all bodies into is we all have 4 components. We have our body, which is everything physical. There's our emotions. There's our mind. And then there's our spirit.
Cool.
So each thing is its own piece. And they all function together. So if you remove one, all the other 3 cannot function. You
go to trash. Just
yes.
Toss them.
So, for instance, if somebody goes into a coma, all right?
Okay.
Their brain functioning has ceased.
Yeah.
Right, has stopped. So this is the mental component, right? And arguably it's part of your body too, right? So it has shut down, but for the sake of this, it is the mental or the mind that has stopped operating. And essentially, it's a death sentence. So the hospital is just keeping you alive, right? Why is it a death sentence? Well, if you really go into a coma, you can't eat, you can't swallow, you can't do anything because you effectively are gone.
Right.
You're like out of there. Mm-hmm. And the longer your mind is gone, the more damage that your brain sustains.
Right.
Right? You're in this unconscious state, and your brain continuously gets damaged. Now, it's very interesting to think about that. Because why would your brain sustain more damage by just not operating? People today like to think of humans like it's like a computer. We're just like computers, we can be programmed. That's bullshit, okay? I'm sorry. People a long time ago have been thinking deterministically, and that means that, only that which can be measured. So totally external, right? So, things like your mind are a critical part of your body. Same thing with emotions. A lot of science and scientists try to, negate emotions, right? And that's what science is about. We want to take our emotions out of it and find out what the truth is so that our emotions don't get in the way.
Right.
But the emotions also provide a very crucial function in your life, right? So to neglect them is also neglecting a part of your body. And that's when people can go insane.
Dang.
It's true. A lot of, people who get really high up in, I'll say academia like that, they're really focused on the mentality and pushing the emotions out, which is part of science and what should happen in the field.
Right, but not in like your
But not in your life.
Yeah.
In life, there's emotions. There's always has to be, right? So when people spend their lives trying to push down their emotions or say that emotions are illogical, they're irrational, I shouldn't have them. It's true they're illogical and irrational, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have them, because logic and ration is part of mind.
Yeah.
It's not part of emotion. So you should let yourself experience those emotions, find out why you're experiencing them, and let them happen, right? And don't say, oh, it's not logical, I shouldn't, right? You could say, oh, it's not logical, so why?
Yeah.
Right? That's fine. Say, why am I feeling this way? And then dig down into your emotions. You might discover something about yourself that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? So they provide a very crucial window into your own self, into yourself. It's not just your mind, it's your whole body. Sometimes you can be feeling emotional because there's something wrong in your stomach or in your liver.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to not... the emotion is an indicator of your body.
Yeah, not to stuff it away.
Right. Do not
ignore it.
Do not ignore your emotions. You have emotions. You have to pay attention to them and figure out why you're having them, because they're a crucial part of your body. So when I say body, I won't talk about it too much, but obviously body is everything you can touch, all right? All the meat, all the blood, right?
Yeah.
All the juices, right? Whatever. Okay? Drink your water, drink your coffee, all right? Whatever, right? So body is super important. Your diet, what you're eating. You don't maintain your body, same thing. Mind starts breaking down. Emotions start breaking down. And spirit starts breaking down, right?
Cool.
So... last component is the spirit, and the spirit are other immeasurable things which actually science has not been able to measure them at all whatsoever. And I shouldn't say science, I should say our current scientific methods have not been able to measure them at all whatsoever. These are things like consciousness, that's your perception of yourself, drive, what's it called, grit. They recently discovered grit, that's a spiritual thing.
Oh, wow.
Faith. Yes, it is. It doesn't have to do with... If somebody is determined to do something, like, for instance, I have a goal of spreading Lung Ting Wing Chun around the United States. Okay? That's really my goal. And so what I do is, with all this stuff, running a business is very difficult, but we always have this in mind. Like, how do we make it work successfully? Because I want to spread this art. That's my goal.
Yeah, you have this purpose and this why.
Right. Yeah. And I like to do it because I see the positive benefits it has in so many people's lives. That's really why I love it. Yeah. Right. So that's my goal, is to spread it, to bring it to so many people so that they can have a positive change in their lives. So that's determination. That's my drive. And so even on a day I'm feeling like, oh man, I feel really terrible today, or something crazy happens, it doesn't deter me from my goal. And I will get up and I will keep doing it, and I will keep focusing on it.
Because you've got that vision. You know where you're headed.
So things like this is the spirit. So that's what I'm talking about. So again, 4 parts of everybody is your body, your emotion, your mind, and your spirit. Okay.
Nice.
And when people train Wing Chun, this is the cool part, but also the upsetting part. When they train Wing Chun Kung Fu, the good thing is the balance between the internal and external, but it also kind of, you can see it when people do Chi Sao, if they're not feeling good that day, if they're having an emotional problem, if they're having a spiritual problem, if they're having a mental problem, that all comes through in the hands. When you can start moving and detecting it like we can, like it's like something's wrong with one of my students today. I touched their hands and something's wrong. Like immediately I can feel it.
Wow.
Because you can tell just the way they're moving that something is happening. Yeah. Right?
You feel like tension or...
It's hard to describe.
What is it?
It's indescribable. It's just like I discussed with Sifu Bagalev. It's like I'm putting out a radio signal into your body, and I get an echo back. I guess that's the main way. So it's the same way that the submarines use sonar.
Is it kind of like you feel like a bad vibe or bad vibration or something kind of stuck?
It's kind of like that. It's very hard to describe because there's really no words to describe it. Essentially, if somebody has all their whole bodies in order, their mind, they're focused in one spot, everything will be lined up. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Okay.
I'll shoot the signal out and the signal will come back, right? And it's like a constant sonar. Mm-hmm. If I'm shooting the signal out through my right arm and I have contact with them and I feel some sort of weakness, some sort of the signal's coming back weak, right? That means that something is going on, something is wrong.
Yeah. And
depending on the weakness of the signal, like for instance, when I touch someone, I can tell if their weakness is in their back, if their weakness is in their shoulder, if their weakness is in their feet or in their knee.
Oh, wow.
So I can feel it. Mm-hmm. That's why if, sometimes you guys see people doing chi sao, you're like, well, why don't they kick each other? And the reason is someone who's really good doing chi sao, that drill, as soon as you try to lift up your foot, I'm going to feel it and I'm going to move.
Oh.
Because you can't move your foot without losing that part of the connection, right? So that's why people can't kick during chi sao if the other person is doing well.
Oh, cool.
Right? Yeah. So, that's the internal component, and students learn to face themselves, which can be very emotional and daunting, right? That's the hard part. In the arts like Tai Chi, which is also really good, but when you're so focused internally and you neglect the external, you're never being bounced. Like, you're never being checked.
Yeah.
So you can go off into like lots of tangents in your mind and, start believing random things, like you can levitate and stuff, right? That's why I really like the Yang family Tai Chi, because I'm talking Tai Chi in general. Yang family Tai Chi is very practical.
Okay.
And that's the one that Sifu German trains here in the school.
Sweet.
Yeah, so when you get Tai Chi, guys, you can get a wide range of stuff. Like, you don't know who. We even had somebody come in here claiming to be a master, and we asked him, who he trained with. And he was like, oh, it's a Yang family. I trained. It's all kind of the same. And we were like, okay. All right. So, it's really important to find someone who has a true source of knowledge and is not doing like some offshoot that's just, people can make up whatever after they learn it, because the internal is very hard to measure. But if you have someone who's good at it, who can feel it and test you, then you'll know who has the internal and who doesn't.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then, so German is doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
How many classes does he run?
For the Tai Chi classes, there's 3 Tai Chi classes a week. And what they do is really, really cool stuff. And,
I feel like I need
it's really
that.
the focus on the internal part. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, Tai Chi class.
Sweet.
Here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right, let's move on.
Start wrapping it up. I think hold on, what's our time? Whoa, we're already at 29 minutes. Look at that.
Okay, finally, how to change your mass to generate more force. Give us the knowledge.
I'll just ask you really quick. What do you think about if I tell you to punch harder? What do you think about? Like, how do you think people punch harder?
Okay, well, that's not a fair question because I already know a little bit of what you should be doing.
Well, then.
So if I didn't know, I would
just say what you know, whatever.
I would think creating that pull back and like that whole move through the shoulder, like you like throwing, you really get a good wham.
Yeah.
Thing.
So essentially putting your body behind it, right?
Yeah.
Force equals mass times acceleration. And a well-trained scientist will tell you that you cannot change the mass of the system, right? The mass is the mass, and that's the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
But you can, all right? I'm here to tell you, I'm about to blow all your minds, okay? You can change the mass because you can change the system, all right? So, a lot of people, when they first start learning how to punch, they just try to swing really hard as far as they can. What they do is they pull their shoulder out, all right, from the socket, right? They lift their shoulder up, they raise their shoulder. Once they raise their shoulder, the mass of the strike only becomes the mass of the arm.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of training to keep your shoulder down, keeping your shoulder in place. A lot of you who train other martial arts, you'll know the experience of actually hitting somebody and you feel that like really good connection. You feel it connect. Pow! Like you feel that power behind it. And to you, actually, what you feel is not as much. You just feel that jolt like running through you. It's a hard sensation to describe. But when you really connect with somebody and hit them like a solid hit, like you feel it and you know that even if you weren't swinging that hard, that person just got rocked. Like you feel it, right? And so what's happening there is that your shoulder is down, your legs are in place, and your whole body is connected. When you connect your whole body behind the punch, the mass changes to the mass of your body.
Oh, okay.
So people who are initially punching are only punching with their arm, right? And so that's why you can have somebody punch you and you'll say, oh, their punches are weak, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's only the mass of the arm. I don't know what the arm weighs. I'll say, I don't know, 5 kilograms, let's say. So force equals mass times acceleration. Let's say your acceleration is, I don't know, 1 meter per second. Let's keep it simple. All right. That's already too much for most people. Your acceleration is 1 meter per second. All right. So the mass of the arm is 5 kilograms. The acceleration is 1 meter per second. Okay. Let's just say. So that means your force is 5 times 1 is 5 newtons.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's up the mass to the mass of the body. So let's see, most people weigh, I don't know, 50 kilograms-ish. Let's say somebody who's pretty...
beefy?
Yeah, pretty beefy. I don't know. Let's say a smaller person. Let's say they weigh only 50 kilograms, which is about 100-ish pounds.
Like,
about 110
okay, like
pounds.
Me.
Yeah,
like me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, if you can use the mass of your body...
Yeah.
Now, 50 kilograms times 1 meter per second equals 50 newtons.
Okay.
So you've just increased your striking power by 10 times.
Yeah.
That's 10 times greater. You've increased it.
Nice.
So imagine just by lining up your body, you can have a 10-fold increase in your striking power.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what we focus on in Wing Chun, is keeping that body structure to actually get that force behind the hit and how to do that.
Are you going to tell us the secret sauce about the punch or no?
I just did.
No, there's I know there's something else.
Are you talking about the explosive power?
Yeah, and like the
generating that explosive part? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the extra part, but I won't talk about it today.
Okay, good.
I had an earlier podcast, I think it's number 2 or something. I talked about generating explosive power, where I talk about that.
Oh, okay.
And it has to do with relaxation. So.
Yeah. I thought that was most interesting because most people do they wind it up, and get it all tight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in Wing Chun we call that short bridge power. And so Bruce Lee said it was like inch force, right? So that's a cooler name for it. So we use this thing called inch force. We generate that power over a very short distance. But the way we do that is by connecting our body.
Okay.
That's how it works. Because again, to draw back, you're focusing on the speed. They're trying to increase the acceleration, but not the mass.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
They're trying to increase the A, but how much faster could you go? Can you go 10 times faster than you could before? No, you can't. You can go a little faster, even with a lot of training. You can increase your speed quite a bit, but you only might be able to double the speed.
Right.
So that means if you don't learn how to connect your body to your punch, you can only generate double the power of you when you're at your weakest.
Okay.
Right? Versus you learn to connect the body, that's already a 10 times increase, and you haven't even done any training yet. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's the difference.
Sweet!
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. I tried to keep it short, but damn, we got 30 minutes. So I hope you all can enjoy this on your way to work or fishing or whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Outdoor hiking. Yeah. If you're in California, watch out for the mountain lions. Okay. All right. And we look forward to seeing you next time. If you have any topics, any wishes you want us to do, please leave comments on YouTube here or leave comments on Spotify. Again, we did have a comment before that we read. Please interact with us, guys. I'd love to have topics to talk to you about. And until next time, have a good week, evening, lunch, hike, sleep, nap, whatever it is you're doing. All right? Have a good one.